You just saw the brawl, the hard foul, the benches clearing, the ejections, and if you believe the headlines, that's all there is to it. The WNBA fined Sophie Cunningham $400 and everyone moved on. But that fine wasn't a punishment. It was a $400 lottery ticket that just exposed a $50 million lie the WNBA has been trying to bury. This isn't about a foul. It's about a broken financial system where players can gain more by breaking the rules than the league does, by enforcing them. On June 17, 2025, with the Indiana Fever up 88-71 against the Connecticut Sun, J.C. Sheldon, a longtime Caitlin Clark rival, poked her in the eye, and Marina Mabrey shoved her to the floor. Officials handed out technicals and a flagrant, but the real story isn't what happened on the court. It's what that moment revealed about how money, power, and narrative are being manipulated behind the scenes. Marina Mabrey stayed in the game, but for the Fever and for Sophie Cunningham, a line had been crossed. The officials had lost control, creating what insiders call a vacuum of authority. So with 46 seconds left, Cunningham filled that void, delivering a hard, deliberate foul on J.C. Sheldon, wrapping her up and dragging her to the ground in clear retaliation. The benches cleared, Cunningham was ejected, and the league fined her $400 for a flagrant 2. But here's where the math turns wild. That $400 penalty triggered the biggest personal payday in WNBA history. In just 48 hours, Sophie's TikTok following jumped from 400,000 to 1.2 million. Her Instagram gained 350,000 followers, and her No. 8 Fever jerseys sold out on Fanatics. One marketing agency estimated the value of that kind of growth at over $1 million. Sophie Cunningham turned a $400 fine into a 7-figure branding win, becoming a hero, an icon, and the enforcer who protected the league's biggest star, when the league itself wouldn't. But while Cunningham laughed her way to the bank, the WNBA, the very organization that fined her, was drowning in red ink. And that's where the $50 million lie comes in. While Sophie was building a personal empire from a single foul, the league that made it all possible was quietly bleeding money. Despite 2024 being the most watched and most talked about season in WNBA history, multiple reports confirmed the league still lost between $4 million and $50 million. Let that sink in. More eyeballs than ever, yet catastrophic financial losses. So how is that even possible? The answer is a paradox. Her name is Caitlin Clark. Let's cut through the noise. The idea that the WNBA's growth is being driven by the entire 2024 rookie class or a league-wide talent explosion is, according to the data, a media-made myth. The numbers tell the real story in 2024. WNBA viewership on ESPN platforms surged by 170%, and of the 21 games that drew over 1 million viewers, 18 featured Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. When she missed 5 games in June 2025, due to injury, national TV ratings didn't just dip, they collapsed by 55%. She isn't just part of the success story. She is the success story. So naturally, you'd assume the player single-handedly driving the league's value would be the highest paid star by far, right? Wrong. Here's the league's dirty little secret for the 2025 season. Caitlin Clark's official WNBA salary is just $78,666. You heard that correctly, Sophie? Cunningham, the enforcer who stepped in to protect Caitlin Clark, earns a WNBA salary of $100,000, meaning the woman who just turned a $400 fine into $1 million brand is paid more by the league than the superstar she defended. Meanwhile, Clark's off-court deals, like her groundbreaking 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike, reveal her true market value. The league is getting $1 billion talent for the price of an entry-level office job. Does it make any sense? That Sophie Cunningham earns more from the WNBA than Caitlin Clark? Let me know your honest reaction in the comments below. This isn't just a pay gap. It's a full-blown reality distortion field. It's created a strange new environment where the traditional rules of sports economics no longer apply. What we're seeing is the rise of a brand new, dangerously unstable model we're calling narrative-driven value. In this new economy, A player's worth isn't tied to stats, it's tied to their role in the Caitlin Clark cinematic universe. The closer you are to the main character, whether you play the hero, the villain, or the protector, the faster your brand grows. And your paycheck follows. And Sophie Cunningham is the ultimate case study. Let's take a look at the numbers on the court, not just online. Let's look at the bank statement. In the 2025 season, Sophie Cunningham is a solid role player, averaging about 5 points and 4 rebounds per game, not superstar numbers by any means. But her value isn't measured in stats anymore. With one highly visible act of enforcement on behalf of the league's main character, her entire brand was recalibrated in real time. Suddenly, her gritty playstyle and spicy Sophie nickname weren't just personality quirks, they were marketable assets. Even her childhood black belt in Taekwondo was weaponized by the media to reinforce her persona as the ultimate enforcer. Her on-court production became irrelevant. Her narrative contribution became everything. Whether intentional or not, she wrote the playbook for a new kind of gold rush, one that shows players how to leverage outrage, drama, and proximity to Caitlin Clark for massive personal gain. And it's triggered a crisis within the league. How do you enforce the rules when players have discovered that breaking them is more profitable? The league's leadership is under pressure, and the cracks are starting to show. A civil war is brewing not just among fans and analysts, but among the league's own decision-makers. On one side stands Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White, who didn't just support Cunningham's actions, she openly praised them, calling her the team's tough-as-nails X-Factor and embracing her new role as protector of the league's biggest star? Oh my God, Sophie's a dog, Fever head coach Stephanie White said. She's just ... She's a competitor. She's versatile. She lets us do different things. She plays with such toughness. She's huge for us, and she's going to be all season long. But on the other side of the battle line, Connecticut Sun head coach Rashid Masuin saw the same event and called it a disgrace, slamming Cunningham's foul as stupid and disrespectful. He argued that pulling a stunt like that while up 17 points was classless and unsportsmanlike. Two coaches. Two completely opposite interpretations of the same moment. But perhaps the most important voice came from someone who wasn't even in the building that night, Las Vegas Aces coach and respected basketball mind Becky Hammon. She stepped forward and gave voice to a deeper frustration brewing across the league. There's too much bumping, too much grabbing, too much fouling. That's not getting called, and people are tired of getting hit, she said. This is what happens. That was a direct shot at the league office. Hammon wasn't defending the foul, she was confirming what many players already feel. The system of officiating is broken, and in its absence, players are taking justice into their own hands. Becky Hammon wasn't just defending players. She was explaining the systemic breakdown that made Cunningham's foul inevitable. This isn't just a player problem. It's a league problem. So now the question is, who do you side with in this war of words? Are you with Coach White's loyalty, Coach Messian's call for sportsmanship, or Coach Hammon's critique of a broken system? Cast your vote in the comments. This division has left the WNBA in a strategically impossible position, forced to choose between two drastically different paths, each with massive consequences. The first is the LZ Fair Entertainment model, which argues that the drama is good for business. The controversy around Caitlin Clark fuels media attention, sells tickets, and creates viral storylines with heroes and villains. So the league might quietly let the enforcer narrative thrive. But the second path is the asset protection model, focused on long-term survival. What happens if the WNBA's most valuable asset, Caitlin Clark, suffers a serious injury from one of these unchecked physical plays? We've already seen the warning sign. When Clark missed just 5 games in 2025, league viewership plummeted 55%. That kind of absence would be a financial catastrophe. This model demands the league take action, hand out real suspensions, enforce the rules, and protect its golden goose at all costs. Faced with an impossible choice, what did the WNBA do? They blinked. They upgraded Marina Mabrey's foul after review, but handed Sophie Cunningham a fine that amounts to pocket change. And most crucially, suspended no one. It was an act of weakness, a desperate attempt to appease everyone that ultimately satisfied no one. This wasn't a solution, it was a signal, a flashing red light that the league has no idea how to fix its most urgent problem. The Sophie Cunningham incident wasn't just a foul that exposed a financial lie. It was a symptom of a league that has lost control of its own value system. It revealed a broken economic model, one where players have discovered a dangerous new playbook. Creating drama around a superstar can make you rich faster than the league can grow the sport itself. And by refusing to enforce serious consequences, the WNBA hasn't just allowed this, it's actively incentivized it. The message is clear. In the new WNBA, crime pays, and it pays well. Fuse has been lit, and the next player to follow. This formula might be the one who finally makes the whole thing explode. So what's your take? Is Sophie Cunningham a genius who gamed a broken system? Or is this narrative-driven branding model the beginning of the end for the WNBA? Drop your theory in the comments. If you believe the story behind the story is the one that really matters. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs to understand the real economic game behind the curtain.